Hello YouTube. Roughly 30 minutes ago, I viewed a video by Alex Jones where he was interviewing Ted Nugent. Of course, it didn't disappoint. So I'm just going to say what I'm thinking so I never have to think about it again. You gotta love a man who defecates on himself to avoid service to his country, but he wants to instruct a certain segment of the American populace on how to short circuit their total destruction. You just gotta love a man that admitted to an adult addiction to underage girls, yet he wants to state that, quote, the first step towards genuine healing for the denial, riddled, hysterical black community would be to admit that George Zimmerman was indeed getting his ass whooped by an angry, violent, wildly overreacting young man, and that Trayvon Martin was not an innocent child, end quote. I hope I got that right. I was trying to do it from memory. Anyway, 1. He was younger than the age of maturity, Ted, or a child, though he had the stature of a man. 2. I know of several children that are well over 6 feet tall and under 16 years of age. I know one that is not only over 6 feet tall, and his biceps measure to be 21 inches. And he happens to be white. So would you deem him to be a child or a man? Well, I think he's a child. Okay. Well, you then made reference to his anger, Trayvon's anger. Well, you know, if someone followed me, I would be angry also. We only have, remember, Ted, the testimony of one participant. We do not know who started the altercation. I do not recall Trayvon Martin's parents ever stating he was innocent of any and all wrongdoing. So if you're making reference to how the media portrayed him, then maybe you wish to say such, instead of placing that on the heads of every black person that may have taken an interest in this case. If there is anything that most educated blacks are in denial of, Ted, it is that the two-party system is America's best option, or that we are in a utopian post-racial world, or all you have to do is work hard and public policy is not a factor that affects blacks. Yeah. So if you're speaking about that sort of denial, then you would be right. So people of YouTube, we have this individual who is obviously devoid of any moral scruples, a National Rifle Association board member and conservative columnist. Yet, gotta love how he just resorts to any sort of stereotyping of blacks that he can. So willing to stereotype blacks as violent. You have to admire his insistence to exemplify the conservative media trend of demonizing coverage that exaggerates black criminality. You know, my favorite is, quote, mindless tendency to violence we see in the black communities across America, end quote. Well, funny I have witnessed no conservative on YouTube state the obvious, Ted, and that is that you are attempting to normalize racial bigotry with fictitious reasoning dressed in the clothing of realness. Ultimately, this is concocted in order to conceal your racism. With my boots firmly on the ground, Ted, I can only state that you, above Rush, Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, and even Ann Coulter, demonstrates repeatedly that those inflicted with an addictive illness have difficulty in telling the truth, but they see all they say as truth. My second favorite, Ted, of your most recent comments, which invites ridicule, is that racism was gone by the late 60s. Yeah. This is, of course, excluding the individual acts of abusive behavior or appeal to intrinsic superiority, I'm sure, Ted. Oh, so since most openly displayed aggressive forms have been substituted for subtle displays, racism has vanished, right, Ted? So tell me, this type of subtle prejudicial behavior often felt, by what we could call microaggressions by people, while growing up in their day-to-day activities? Do you think that has anything to do with racial bigotry? Oh, so your implied moral claim of superiority, Ted, only comes from your highly perspective state, correct? It's only your FBI crime stats that allow you to employ deductive reasoning regarding that black males walking down a street as more likely to be suspect of a carjacking or a rape. Correct, Ted? Surely you have never subjected your offspring to a specific type of socialization which contributes to beliefs in black inferiority? Sure you haven't, Ted. Oh, damn it, Ted. You know that can't possibly be because you have people who have been employed by you that are black. That's right. And also people who are very fortunate and lucky to consider themselves a friend of yours that are black. That's right. You can possibly have that worldview. It is obvious you have no political resentment of blacks, right? Especially those who are not conservative, correct? Obviously, you do not know what racism is, Ted, as you made the claim while interviewed on Alex Jones that you experienced racism due to your long hair. Now, I know you are wanting to state that you misspoke, correct? Yes, according to Ted, by the 70s or 80s, nothing existed to deter or compromise, gotta love that, deter or compromise a black American dream if they got an alarm clock, they set it, and took good care of themselves, remained clean and sober, spoke clearly, and demanded excellence of themselves and provided excellence to their employers. Damn, that's a mouthful, Ted. So tell me, what about the 63% of blacks who were exonerated through DNA evidence? What about the common occurrence of racially biased harassment in poor neighborhoods? Oh, the poor surely do not know how to speak clearly, right? Take care of themselves or set an alarm clock. So, oh, that's right. So we can't include them. Let's speak about these attitudes of yours, Ted. These attitudes that you have that other people may emulate would never derail justice due to inadequate criminal representation, right? So how is it that despite the fact that white people reportedly are more likely to use illegal drugs, that black people are arrested and incarcerated at a much higher rate? How does that work, Ted? There's certainly no system that could possibly be working which could deter or compromise a black person's dreams, right? This has no basis in racism, possibly, right? Still waiting for that answer, Ted. I can't hear you, Ted. Do explain, since we have nothing that can deter or compromise a black person's dream. Do tell me, why are blacks frequently illegally excluded from criminal jury service? Now, do read the, I think it's the June 2010 study released by the Equal Justice Initiative. Why wouldn't a black man not want to serve his country, Ted? Is this not compromising him as an American? Huh? So, fuck you and your theory that real shackles on black America 100% of the time comes from black Americans. First, you could not possibly account for every experience that every black person has. Conjecture does not equate to actuality. Second, you certainly love to employ the use of cognitive distortions. 1, reduction of reality, which, of course, allows you to eliminate all you do not select to see. 2, hasty inductive reasoning is self-explanatory here, right? Sure it is. You are not fooling anyone. This is totally a type of political posturing for your audience. I, indeed, am repulsed by the refuge you build for your fellow scumbuckets. Oh, and Ted, may your fingers bleed every time you touch your fretboard. You wretched dickhead. Cannot even see your nose that is so far up your ass. Fucking Ronald Reagan loving hideous right-wing pig. Take your vile, perverted, megalomaniac ass, Medusa cursed, fucktard, brain-dead prick of a shit-eater dipshit, and leave this country.